Our aim is to spread the message that there are realities beyond the physically perceptible, and that coming into contact with these realities radically changes the meaning of our lives. Our intention is to reach even those who have never been interested in philosophy or esotericism, and for this reason we also offer activities that are apparently not related to spiritual science. We want as many people as possible to know that every small gesture that is made with the intention of bringing about an improvement within or outside of ourselves is a gesture of a spiritual nature, and that, therefore, each of us has the power to contribute to the change that will bring planet Earth to be a better place to live. In this perspective, activities such as learning a new language or learning to play chess are also useful tools for serving the plan. Learning a new language allows us to communicate more easily with people who do not belong to our culture, and therefore to better understand their view of the world. This allows us to build a bridge that can bring us closer to the so-called different, rather than remaining barricaded behind a wall of mutual incomprehension and fear. Playing chess, on the other hand, requires us to develop skills such as being able to identify with the other person in order to predict what he or she will do, and to take responsibility for our own moves. Building bridges that create unity instead of building walls. Detaching ourselves from our own personality in order to understand the other person, taking responsibility for our own actions, are cornerstones on the path of spiritual evolution and valuable tools of service, and any activity that stimulates their development is to be considered spiritual. Practical philosophy is a way of fostering the spreading of spiritual principles, since the emergence of a greater ecological and social awareness is the natural consequence of a greater knowledge of ourselves. Philosophy is here understood as a total transformation of the way of seeing the world and being in it. As a first step, using philosophical tools such as argumentative logic, for example, it is possible to clarify the mental patterns within which we move. What do we think? Why do we think it? Are the questions that are answered in this phase. In the second stage, we move beyond the rational sphere into a sphere that involves the whole being, the sphere in which we consciously perceive the energies of light and goodwill that the service of the triangles helps to spread on the planet. At this stage, techniques such as meditation, creative imagination, visualization, and contemplation are used. The search for meaning undertaken through philosophical self-reflection naturally leads to spirituality. Once we have understood our worldview, we feel the need to go beyond it. The capacities of our rational mind have reached their limit, but something in us feels that there is more to know and yearns to move forward on the path. Listening to this inner call sets us on a path along which we discover that we are more than our personalities. Venturing beyond the limits of the personal world does not only require thinking differently, but also being differently. This is why this step requires the practice of spiritual exercises that were carried out in the philosophical esoterical schools of antiquity: attention to the present moment, meditation, contemplation, etc. These are activities that involve our whole being. It is at this stage of the journey that we consciously come into contact with our soul and with the energetic network of light and goodwill that the triangle service helps to create around the planet. Through a deep exploration of ourselves, we can then discover that we are not separate from life as a whole and understand our place in the great chain of existence. We understand that consciousness pervades all realities, that the world and its creatures are expressions of an underlying divine reality, and that through appropriate practice, we, human beings, can come to know this reality and recognize our oneness with the divine substratum. We understand that the recognition of the divine substratum as our own true nature is the ultimate goal of human existence, and that there is no clear ontological division in the realm of existence, that there are no real barriers between human beings and the other kingdoms of nature, that we are all part of the one beautiful family of living beings. This awareness is reflected in life choices that seek harmony, not domination, with others and with nature. In other words, life choices based on goodwill. A consciousness for which the connection and responsibility to the greater world to which we are intimately connected is obvious, spontaneously moves towards service to humanity and respect for the planet. In Alice Bailey's books, we are told that the seventh ray that is coming into activity will produce beauty out of chaos, and that beauty is that bit of the divine that can be manifested in form. It is not difficult to associate the concept of chaos with issues such as climate change, the consequences of the pandemic, and the other crises we are now facing as humanity. Just as it is not difficult to associate the concept of beauty with the role that those who serve the plan play at this particular time in human history. The triangle service, as well as all the other service activities currently in operation, help to channel the energies needed to transform chaos into beauty. During the pandemic and other crises, many human beings, faced with fear of death, material and financial worries, and loneliness, experience psychological difficulties. Spreading spiritual principles and channeling energies of light and goodwill across the planet are ways of helping these people to live better, of helping them to change their outlook on the world, so that, in the midst of chaos, they can glimpse beauty. Knowing, understanding, and manifesting spiritual principles allows us to dissolve the dense cloud of worry in which many brothers and sisters are currently shrouded, allowing them to see the vision of a wider and more joyful life. Once we widen our view of the world, death, which in our youth-obsessed society is a source of terror for many people, is seen for what it really is, a transition from one state of consciousness to another, a prelude to a new living experience on the spiral towards ever greater beauty. The sense of loneliness vanishes as we perceive the energetic presence of the brothers and sisters who walk the path beside us and support us with their thoughts of light and love. We realize that we are not alone, that we are working as a group towards spiritual attainment, and we understand that this attainment is made possible by the gradual exaltation of the soul that lies hidden in all forms. Witnessing the inner beauty of all creation, we in turn can produce beauty and harmony around us in outer life, so that other hearts and minds attracted by the light may join us on the path.